My fellow Guardians, what's up y'all? Your dude Sly here, and welcome back to another Sly Nation Destiny 2 raid guide. This time we're diving into one of the most atmospheric raids in Destiny, the Vow of the Disciple. Here in part 1, we'll discuss the intro area and then the very first encounter. Now as a disclaimer, this is day 1 footage. My team and I created this strategy, and while it gets the encounter completed, it is a very early strat. The weapons you use, the places to stand, the order to do things, all of this might and probably will change over the weeks and months this raid is out as more gets discovered. Either way, the mechanics will never change, and that's what this guide is here to teach you. So first, let's dive into subclasses and weapons, and then we'll talk about what to do after that. We'll learn the map, then set all of this stuff into motion, and I'll try to show you as many angles as possible. So with that, let's get this bad boy started. First, subclasses. Now, the instant contest mode goes off, things will be much easier. So you probably won't need to rely on builds as much as you see here, but they do help nonetheless, especially towards the end. Most went with a volatile round build, void subclasses, but you can also use the new Titan helmet, Loyally Splendor, along with a solar subclass to proc healing sunspots, and of course, a solar warlock build is great anytime during a raid. And of course, everyone's liking the Void Hunter so much, most hunters stuck with that. As for weapons, a lot of us use the new Austria Striga exotic SMG. It goes extremely well with necrotic grips, the exotic warlock gauntlets, and it can take out groups of enemies fairly quickly. Other options include Wither Horde, which is something that will be useful for pretty much the entire raid, as we'll talk about later. As for secondary, the new Funnel Web SMG is simply fantastic if you can manage a good roll. But fusion rifles, shotguns, other SMGs all work nicely. And as for heavy, I would choose Parasite, Gallarhorn, or of course the trusty linear fusion rifle. All of these are good options for this area. With contest mode off, things will be much easier to get through, so more weapons will also become viable as, enemies become easier. Now, once you reach the pyramid, you want to go ahead and make your way past the puzzle room and then drop down into the next area. Shortly thereafter, you will arrive at the very first encounter called Acquisition. Now, this encounter is really not that hard. However, it is kind of mechanic heavy, and the worst part is that you have to memorize brand new symbols. Not just 4 or 5 of them, but instead rather 16. At least I'm pretty sure there's 16 new symbols. We'll have to double check that number, but it's somewhere around there. It is quite a lot of them. Now, my team and I created our own call-out system, and while it worked for us in that moment, I recommend reading a Reddit post on the symbols themselves. The OP is trying to get the community wrapped around using the same terminology for all of the symbols so that we're all kind of speaking the same language instead of having to learn a new set of names every time you go into the raid. So definitely check that out, it'll go a long way. Now I'm going to use the names of what we call these symbols since the raid has only been out for a little over a day, however just substitute them once you get in there. So first, let's take some time to learn the map. So, from the flag looking out to the front of the arena, this encounter is split into various areas. First, in the center of the room, you're going to see a darkness splinter. That is the direct center. If you look at the large wall in the center, you will see 2 symbols, a dark triangle and a symbol of the traveler. This stands for darkness and light. So the left side of the map is darkness, the right side of the map is light. This will be important for later. Now, in a triangle formation in the center, there will be 2 pillars or obelisks for each of the triangle's corners, so pretty much 6 pillars in total. Each area has 2 pillars within, 1 active pillar and 1 readout pillar. When the time comes, each area will have 1 player guarding them, so 1 player for each of the areas that houses 2 pillars, then there will be 2 floaters, 1 in the back, 1 in the front, and then the last person becomes a runner. So there are 3 readers, 2 floaters, and 1 runner. A total of 6 people. So now let's talk about these pillars in some more detail. The pillar that only has 1 side to it, the furthest from the center, that's what's called the readout pillar. The only thing it does is display information. It does not need to be guarded or protected. The 3-sided pillars in the center, however, is the one that you have to protect. These pillars will show orange bands around them, and these bands are your timer. Every time adds spawn, 2 orange bars scorn will try to keep destroying the pillars, and when they damage it, the timer then increases, giving your entire team less time to do their jobs. So every pillar is important to protect. Now, around the room on all sides, there will be 8 rooms in total. There's going to be 3 in the back, 3 in the front, and then 1 on each side. These rooms are all labeled by these new symbols. So, from looking at the spawn flag and going clockwise, you have what I call water drop, then hands, Then we have depression, brain, balance, Pink Floyd, shard, and then double Jesus. Now, I was the one who came up with double Jesus, so I apologize if it offends anyone. It was originally just called Jesus because of the whole glowing, arm stretched out thing. But there was another symbol that kind of looked like Jesus, so it became double Jesus. And anyway, it worked for the time being. It was kind of a heat of the moment thing, so I apologize if it offends anyone. Anyways, all the rooms here are the exact same. Within each room, you're going to find a small hall filled with Screeve and 2 Solar Scorn Chieftains. Now notice on the wall within these rooms, there are going to be 2 symbols, a dark sun and a light sun. A chieftain will spawn next to each of these symbols, 2 within each room. The key here is finding out which one you have to kill. Alright y'all, so now that we talked about the entire map, let's try to put things into motion and explain the encounter from start to finish. So shoot the shard in the middle of the encounter to start it. Once you do, ads will then spawn in around all 3 sides. And around that same time, one of the 3 readout pillars is going to show a symbol. Now only the person in that area can see it, so you have to be on the lookout. There's a mechanic in play that makes the symbol despawn if you leave the area. The first symbol will either be the dark triangle or the traveler, darkness or light, and only one of the 3 pillars will show this at the very top of the readout pillar. So once you see it, you know that you're going to be the call out person for that entire round. Once you see the pyramid or the traveler, call it out so that the floaters and the runner can hear it. The first symbol tells you on which side of the room a special taken knight is hiding, and this knight can spawn in 5 different spots on the left and 5 different spots on the right. So having one floater cover the bottom half and the other floater covering the top half makes the knight quicker to find, and timing here is everything. One shot with Parasite or Gallahorn will do the trick. Once contest mode is off, I bet a grenade or fusion rifle will probably take care of it just as easily. So once the knight has been found and dealt with, another symbol will appear on the readout pillar. This middle symbol will list one of 8 rooms, and it's the reader's job to protect the active pillar and call out the symbol so the runner knows which rooms to run to. Now sometimes the doors might be closed. If that's the case, you have to shoot the shard in the middle of the map to cycle opening and closing the doors. Once the runner enters the correct room, they will then see 2 Scorn Chieftains. At this time, a third and final symbol will appear on the readout pillar, and it will show either a light sun or a dark sun. You tell the runner which one you see, and that's the chieftain that needs to be taken out. Once that happens, that chieftain will drop a symbol. Now this symbol is what I call a puzzle symbol, and it needs to be memorized or written down in chat or on a piece of paper or something like that, as this symbol is one of the 3 pieces you need in order to advance the encounter. Once all 3 symbols are collected on the readout pillar, you are done for that round, and one of the other 2 pillars that are left will be next, and then the cycle starts again. Now since one area completed their callouts, they can now strictly focus on ad control and defending the pillar. They no longer have to keep an eye out on the readout pillar, as it is filled and it won't be used until next round. So the remaining 2 areas now need to keep an eye out for which pillar gets chosen, and again, the very top symbol on the readout pillar will tell the floaters and runners which side the taken knight is located. The second middle symbol shows which room the runner needs to enter, and the third and final symbol shows which chieftain needs to be killed. 3 rounds in each phase, and there are 3 phases total. So once each reader has done their job and the runner has taken out 3 chieftains in 3 different rooms, now the fun part begins. As soon as the third and final puzzle symbol has been dropped by the third chieftain, everyone now has to collapse back onto the active pillars. It's best to even it out and have 2 players at each pillar. Now the deal here is that you have to find the pillar that lists all 3 of the dropped symbols. Only one of the 3 active pillars will have all 3 symbols. Now to trick you, one pillar might have 2 of the 3 symbols, or perhaps the other pillar only has 1 of the 3, or both of them might have 2, or none. Only one pillar of the 3 will show all 3 drop puzzle symbols, and you have to shoot them as soon as you see them. Now currently it doesn't matter in which order they're shot. Shoot the symbol the instant you see that your side has all 3, and you have to do it quickly. If you take too long, the pillar will then kind of do this little tornado thing and scramble everything, and then bring in new symbols. You then have to walk around the whole thing again to look for the ones that you need. You could get lucky and have the exact same symbols, and if you do, you need to shoot them ASAP. Only the pillar with all 3 puzzle symbols needs to be shot at. If the wrong pillar gets shot, it won't accept the offering, and then you try it again. Now the good thing here is that you do get a couple of tries. And like I said, order doesn't matter. As soon as you make your way walking around your pillar, and as soon as you notice that you have all 3 of them, you shoot the first one you see and then worry about the other 2. And then you keep shooting them. Eventually, once all 3 symbols are highlighted, it will accept the offering. Once you see that, congrats my friend, you've made it into phase 2, and now it happens all over again for a total of 3 phases. You know, once you get the hang of it, it's really not that bad of an encounter. It's just memorizing the crazy amounts of new symbols and kind of connecting, those words to that picture, and then shooting the correct symbols fast enough. Those are the tough parts, especially when you're dealing with enemies, but the rest is fairly straightforward. And yeah, that's about it, y'all. The only other thing is that from time to time, an unstoppable ogre will pop in to ruin your day. So be sure that the floater, or at least the reader, has an unstoppable round. But that's really about it, guys. Thank you all so much for not only watching, but for supporting my channel, Sly Nation. There are a ton more Vow of the Disciple videos coming out soon, including secret chests, the raid puzzle, the rest of my encounter guides, and including an easy final boss strategy, so definitely stick around for that. Be sure to spank the thumbs up or down if you liked, loved, or hated this video, and if you wish to get in touch, business or otherwise, feel free to hit me up. SlyNationGaming67@gmail.com, or check me out over on the socials at Sly_Nation on Twitter, Sly Nation Gaming on good old Facebook. Take care, y'all, and keep those eyes open for more Sly Nation Destiny 2 video guides and secrets coming out here soon. But until then, this is your dude Sly, and I'll see you all next time.